What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here. Today we are learning Therefore I Am by Billie Eilish. It's always really cool learning a lot of Billie and Phineas' songs because they're usually pretty easy to play, but there's a lot that you can actually do with them. So make sure you click the link below because I'm going to have the chord charts to go with this. Along with the lyrics, you can kind of like play along with the song. But it's great because it's really 3 chords for 4 spots. But like I said, there's a lot that we can do with it. So let's just start playing it like this. Great, how simple is that? 3 chords, honestly it's kind of like 2 chords in one variation, but like I said, there's a lot that we can do with it, so let's get started. Alright, starts off with the D minor chord. Okay, we're going to do a couple different ways to play this, but we're going to start off playing this pretty traditional D minor chord voicing where your pointer finger is the 1st fret on the high E string. I actually like using my pinky for the 3rd fret on the B string, and then middle finger 2nd fret for the G string, and then open D is our root note. Okay? So we're going to go through the chords first, and then we're going to go through the strumming pattern, which I think is really important, actually, in this song, to kind of get the feel of what the bass guitar or the bass synth is doing. After this, we're going to go to a major chord, which again is open, A on the A string, there's our root note. Middle finger, ring finger, pinky, 2, 2, and 2, D, G, and B. A lot of different ways you can play this A major chord. I would actually suggest using this particular chord voicing because of what we're going to do next. And then again, you can get the open E string. And then we have A7, okay? Which right here is open A, 2 D, open G, 2 B, open E. So I like kind of going from this A major to this A7 where you can just lift your ring finger up, or you can maybe just move your ring finger down to kind of get that, right? So we have D minor, 2 bars worth, 1 bar of A major, and then a bar of A7, okay? But that doesn't really cover the strumming. I think the strumming is like the really important part, okay? And again, so when we add the strumming to it, it's gonna sound like this. Okay, so it's a little more than just going. Which again, you can totally play it like that. If you just want to maybe outline the song and potentially sing along, there's really nothing wrong with just hitting the chord and singing the lyrics. Alright, that's great practice, but I think to kind of get some of the original vibe of what, like I said, the bass line is doing, we want to do this. What I'm doing is, I'm not changing the chord with my fretting hand, I'm working through the string set with my pick, or fingers if you want to just use your fingers to do the same thing, right? What I'm doing is we've got the bottom highest 4 strings, okay? So what I'm going to do, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 beats in this bar. I'm going to break the band of the bottom 4 strings into 3 spots. We have the D and the G string, the G and the B string, and the B and the high E string. Okay? So, maybe for that first beat, I'm gonna aim for the D and the G string. For the second beat, I'm gonna aim 1 string higher, G and B together. For that third beat, I'm gonna get B and E. And again, I don't have to get it precisely every time, I'm just aiming for that. And then I'm gonna go back to that middle band of 2 strings. Okay? So it ends up sounding like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again, that kind of, I think, echoes a lot of what the original is doing because again, we're making an acoustic guitar representation of that song. We do the same thing with all the chords because that bass line really follows the outline of the chords, okay? That's why if you're just playing it like this, you can totally do it. The typical 1, 2, 3, and 4, and down, 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 up, down, up. You can totally play that song, and again, it's fine. I'm not telling you not to do that. I just think you can make it a little bit more, you can honor the original more by trying to add what the original composition of instruments is doing. And again, if you look at that bass line, it's kind of going through the chord in that way, right? So let's do the same thing with that A major chord. All right, now I'm just gonna take what I just did, but maybe just lower it by a string. So now I'm going for the A and the D string for my one and, that first beat. And again, every beat is gonna get 2 strums. You can go down, up. I like going down, 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 down for this just because it kind of drives it forward a little more. So again, I'm just going A and D together, then D and G, then G and B. Or maybe for that third one, I'm getting just like the highest 3 strings and then coming back to the middle. So again, instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm going so again, you can even hear that I'm not always hitting just the strings, like just 2 strings at a time every single time. Sometimes I might hit an extra string, sometimes I only hit one of the strings, but because I've got that pattern of playing it in time with each other, it always kind of sounds intentional, but it's not as hard. You don't have to be as hard on yourself to be like, I have to hit just those 2 strings every time, because that can be kind of difficult. So really, it's never too early to start maybe kind of focusing in and tightening up the scope of the strings that you're hitting with your pick or your fingers or whatever, okay? Then for the same thing, but now we just have an A7. Okay? So all together, we'd have the D minor, 2 and 3 and 4, and again to A major, to A7. So, one thing that I like to do is maybe use different chord voicings to even add a different place to take this, right? I think the next time the verse comes around, it's actually a cappella, so we're just going to kind of do the whole thing through with the same chords, but we can use different voicings for those chords. And that is a surefire way to keep a very simple song interesting by kind of adding in a variety of the chords that you use, right? So we said it's just D minor, A, A7. So one thing that I like to do is I like to play a D, this particular D minor chord, to give it a different flavor, a little bit of variance, right? The 10th fret on the low E string is a D, right? So a minor chord voicing that you could use is just go 10, skip the A string, 10, 10, 10, right? That's a D minor 7. And then the next best thing is a D minor 11, where your pointer finger is actually on the 8th fret of the B string. So this chord isn't that difficult, but it definitely gives a different sound to a D minor. It's still very clearly a D minor chord, but it's just a way to switch it up, right? And especially with a lot of these modern songs, I think the magic in a lot of the modern songs is more in the production necessarily than the musical arrangement. So when it comes down to making an acoustic guitar arrangement, it might sound stale if you just stick to the same chords. So that's why it's really important, I think, to kind of get different chord voicings into it, right? So for the D minor, we can play this. And then we can maybe do something different for the A, right? Now, I always love playing this kind of open top end A major chord over really any A chord in a progression, right? That's a lot different than this, okay? So basically what it is, it looks like an A major bar chord, but the B and the E string are actually open. I'm just kind of tilting my hand up to kind of get the space in there. So it's 5E, 7A, 7D, 6G, and then open on top, right? So that could be our new A chord, and then maybe we could use, this is probably my favorite dominant 7. A7 is just shorthand for A dominant 7, it's the same chord, right? So for this chord, I really like this chord voicing, where it's middle finger 5 on the low E string, pointer finger 4A, ring finger 5D, pinky 6G, right? So we could go from the open version of this 7, to maybe something different. Give a little bit of a vibe, but they work really well together, and I think that's the value in just learning different chord voicings in general, because you can take any song and kind of make it a little more exciting to play. And again, not that there's anything wrong with just sticking to open chords, but in my experience, one of the best ways to get better is to start adding just something new that you're not used to into easy songs that you have down really well. And I think this song is definitely a great example that you're going to be able to do that without really thinking too hard about it, okay? So anyways, that's how you play it. Let us know if you have any questions or comments in the comment section below. And then any other suggestions for song ideas, we're always open to hearing your feedback for. And then after that, make sure you click around on the Guitar Control channel to watch other great videos by myself and other awesome instructors. So like I said, let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.